Hey, welcome back to Matter of Fact. Today we got the recaps for Sunday to Monday night. That was a interesting game. We'll get to that later though. How you feeling after that dub y'all got Sunday night?
Good win. Good win. You know what I mean? Everybody kind of did what they needed to do out there. It was going to be a gutty performance. It was a good team effort from the defense. And I, kind of just believe that do what you're supposed to do. Win
Well,
that football game.
save the sauce. Save the sauce. We're going to start off with London game. 8:30. I know it was like 9:30 for you. Jets versus Vikings, neutral field. This was one of the only. This was out of my three picks from Like Love Lock. This is the only one that missed, but it came down to the wire. If Aaron Rodgers delivers on that last drive, they win by a point. So, what were your takeaways from this one? Did you get a chance to watch this, or
Yeah, I mean, I watched it, but I just thought Aaron Rodgers looked bad. He just didn't look good. I mean, defense was technically defense held them to 16 points. I mean, wait, not 16 points, but yeah, is it 16? Yeah,
the
I think
defense held them to? Oh well,
because
there
it
was
was the
the
pick
pick
six.
six.
Yeah, you know what I mean, and like, yeah, I
Yeah,
just
about
think
16.
Aaron Rodgers kind of got a little flustered in the beginning of the first half. Had a surprise interception, but then had one that was super uncharacteristic of him when he overthrew across the middle of the field to one of the wide receivers, and it was picked off by the safety. And I mean, it kind of was the difference in the game, especially the pick six. So yeah, I don't think that Aaron Rodgers is really playing that well this season, and it cost his team a game.
Yeah, and I mean this was a tough one. Van Ginkel's the one that did the pick six, and the same thing happened in week one against the Giants. He kind of caught it like almost like a lurk type situation, pick six. So that's his second pick six of the year. But yeah, the Vikings, what's interesting about them, they win these games pretty comfortably, but they kind of let the opposing team creep up. So I think that's like one takeaway, like in terms of what they kind of
I
got to
think
work on is
also when Aaron Jones was injured, I think that it definitely changed the dynamic of their offense. I think the reason that they're able to get away with a lot of stuff is because Aaron Jones is clearly significantly better when healthy than Ty Chandler. And when he was out. He kind of got knocked out in the middle of the second quarter, and that's when they stopped flowing.
okay. Well, what about against the Packers? They were up 28-0. That final score is 31-29.
Right, but that's completely different. I think they let their guard down when they were up 28-3, and they just came back or whatever. They're playing prevent defense and all of that. But I think this would have been a completely different story had Aaron Jones, because he was killing them. He was ripping off runs. He was averaging like almost probably close to 6 yards per carry before he injured his hip. And also he does well catching the ball out the backfield. He makes plays that way for them too. So I just think that they have to put a little bit more on Sam Darnold's plate when they don't have the stud running back playing. And this is
Hmm.
kind of what you're going to end up getting when Sam Darnold has to just do more.
So, uh, piggybacking off that, it doesn't sound like you're a big Sam Darnold believer. You think he's just in like what a good system and
No, I mean it's
really.
not. I mean it's not necessarily like I'm a believer or a disbeliever. Respectfully, I don't necessarily care about him. You know what I mean? I'm a Cowboys fan, but I mean I just think that this is like this is Sam Darnold. Like this is the quarterback that he's kind of always been. It's working out for him, and when he has weapons around him, and the defense is playing well, he looks like someone that can win his football team games. But you know when he starts to get off script or when the offense that they're playing is maybe going back and forth with him and the defense isn't holding them down like that, you could probably expect to lose, yes, but for the most part, if the game
Let's
script
see.
is him
He's
playing ahead,
he's 11 to 4 touchdown interception ratio, 1100 yards, 60. He's completing 63.5% of the passes. But hopefully JJ, knock on wood, because I hate injuries. JJ's such an integral part of this offense. It's almost like what the Giants were looking like with Malik Nabers, except the Vikings are overall a better team. So I think they're pretty Justin Jefferson dependent. But hey, them and the Chiefs go into their bye week 5-0, the only undefeated teams left in the league. And with the Jets, I think it's funny that Robert Saleh just got fired. It kind of reminded me of that game where the Titans GM or whoever it was got fired after the Eagles put that ass whooping on them. With this game, it's kind of like, all right, well, man, what is the connection between the Jets and the Vikings? I'm fucking tripping.
I mean, is it
I'm logged
maybe it's
out.
the Sam Darnold, or maybe it's the Sam
Oh
Darnold
yeah,
game?
yeah. That's what it is. Sam Darnold. It's like, yo, we got rid of this guy, and he just beat us in London. Like, all right, this is the last straw. Not only that, when it comes to Robert Saleh, he just kind of fumbles at the presser, and he kind of comes off as one of those like CEO coaches. Obviously, he leads the defense, but that whole statement with the cadence, it was taken out of context a little bit, but that's Aaron Rodgers, like, bread and butter. Like, that's one of the perks of bringing in Aaron Rodgers. You shouldn't say a damn thing about the cadence. Defensive head coach, like, I don't know. I didn't expect him to get fired in the middle of the season or this early, but I guess they do need a change. What do you think about the decision?
I mean, it's a stupid emotional one. Like, we're not even placing blame on the people whose fault it is. The rumor coming out now is essentially basically Saleh was getting ready to fire Nathaniel Hackett, the offensive coordinator,
Really?
who doesn't deserve to even have really, the only reason he has his job is because he's Aaron Rodgers' buddy. And
Hey, bro, they played
apparently,
like pickleball together, and
yeah. And so
golfing. It's
if
pretty important.
the owner isn't going to place blame on himself for making the wrong. I mean, for bringing Aaron Rodgers over here, for bringing Nathaniel Hackett over here, for the offense being as stagnant as it is, he's not going to blame himself, and he can't blame Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is running this entire show. He's been running it ever since he got here, and so Nathaniel Hackett gets to stay. And you could tell Nathaniel Hackett is a horrible coach because he didn't even promote him to head coach. He promoted the defensive coordinator. And sometimes you need a scapegoat. And Saleh, he was a scapegoat. They're not going to, for whatever reason, this isn't Aaron Rodgers' fault. But at the end of the day, I don't think nothing's going to change. Don't think that this is going to be one of those situations where the head coach gets fired and now it gives the team a spark. You're doing this before a Monday night game for a place for first place. Like, you just fired your head coach when y'all getting ready to compete for a first place in your division.
Hey,
And
I mean,
it's just weird.
it
It's
being
just
Monday
weird.
might be better. More time to prepare and deal with that. At least they got
But
it done
I
when they
mean, I don't
did.
know what is going to matter if Aaron Rodgers is not playing well. You know
Well,
what I mean? At the end of
we
the
have to
day,
remember they did just play the Vikings, who've been giving quarterbacks hell. So
but he wasn't. I don't think he was playing well before that. I think the only game he played good in that he could say he played good in is the Patriots game. You know what I mean? And they had the ball. They had the ball. The defense was giving them the ball back. So it's like, yo, you got hella cracks at this stuff, and the Patriots defense is on the field the entire time. But like what's good with the running game? I mean, these just cats that are mad at
I mean,
Bruce Hall. Like,
against
what's
the Titans, he was 18 for 30, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. wasn't too bad then, and now we know now that the Titans defense is actually pretty decent. So
But
I
like
think it's
running
too
backs
I think it's
averaging
too
two.
little of a sample size for me to just be like doom and gloom, like damn, Aaron Rodgers is shitty. I just think the Broncos are a good defense. The Patriots are some ass. So yeah, that's when he played the best. But the Vikings, another good defense. You're playing in London. Like, I don't think it was the best spot, but like
I
you
just
said,
think the organization is just they you know what I mean? There was a scapegoat, and he was the scapegoat. They 2-3, and
and the
we'll
defense is
see
playing
what
well,
happens.
so he's handling his side of the ball.
Exactly. There was only one person that needed to be fired. It was the offensive coordinator,
Well,
and
that's
he
his
didn't get
boy.
fired.
His job security is locked in place, which is why I think what their plan is to kind of have like a more offensive head coach that
Win,
might, huh?
win, because they just
I guess
promoted
I
a
don't know. I don't know. I don't
defense.
know who they could get. I don't know what the. I mean, yeah, we're talking about the New York Jets. Like these franchises always are one foot forward, two steps back. Like I'm not going to bat for the
Yeah, I
franchise.
mean, this one right here, I saw this coming a mile away. I knew this was going to be a disaster the day that he said before they even made the trade that they were going to get Aaron Rodgers. All right, go get him. Now you got to get screwed on the trade though, and they got screwed on the trade with when they got Aaron Rodgers.
I
And
feel
now
like a piece of this is a ripple effect from Tom Brady doing what he did. Like a lot of these, oh, we're getting this older quarterback, just give him but the context matters. With the Bucks, great defense, a great coaching staff. Like things are kind of built out for Tom Brady a lot better, and the division was at its complete weakest. But I feel like a lot of
I make the argument that this built out the same way. You got a stud defense right now for Aaron Rodgers.
but the
He
coaching
has
staff.
I mean, it doesn't. But the coaching staff that won the Super Bowl was Arizona's old coach. He's not
It's
necessarily
Bruce Arians, and
Bruce
I mean,
Arians. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, he's
but
not
he's
necessarily
better. Yeah, but he's better than Robert Saleh. Todd Bowles
at the. But
is still.
by the end of that situation, Bruce Arians had given the play calling to Tom Brady. By the time when they made the Super Bowl, they had a little turmoil or whatever like this. They had already, and then he was like, you know what, Brady, you call the shots. You know what's going on out there. And Tom Brady was making the calls. They're doing the same thing with Aaron Rodgers. He threw the ball 54 times and only had 244 yards. I mean, like it again. I'm
I
saying,
just I just I just need more of a sample size with them. That's just how I
I
feel. I
mean,
think
yeah,
it's.
but
I don't think this is
that's
like
with
the.
everybody.
Yeah, I
That's
know
what
that's with everybody,
yeah.
but you're also making it seem like this is a disaster.
I
Like
just think it's going to be a disaster. Yeah,
okay,
just going.
so
I
you're
think it's
shorting
going to be.
them. I'm
Yeah,
kind of still rocking with them a little bit. But you were talking about the running game. Yeah, what's up with that? Well, what
hey,
is up with Brees Hall
and I
and
mean
Braylon
he has
Allen?
it. They're not
You think it's the
establishing the run.
run scheme, like how they're scheming it up?
No, I mean Bruce Hall was breaking on fools, and then he just stopped. But
I
again,
know you didn't just call him Bruce.
Brees, if he's you know what I mean, it is what it is. Like he only got he didn't get a single carry, I don't think, or no, he got one carry for like 1 yard in the first quarter. Like it's just it was a it didn't look good. It didn't look good. Like
Both averaging 2.6. Yeah, that's the thing too. They really need to find a way to establish the run, and if they don't, I think we're going to see more L's for them. But tough one. At the end of the day, and this is what's kind of funny about football, if instead of throwing a pick at the end of the game, it was a heroic last minute drive, the Vikings are going into their bye 4-1, and the Jets feel on top of the world going into their matchup against the Bills. So they were in this one though.
football is a game of inches. You know what I
Game of
mean?
inches.
Football is a game of, and I personally don't feel like the score shows how dominant the Vikings defense was.
But
But
that's what I'm saying though. That's kind of like how their games have been going. Besides the Texans game, where they smacked them, and it wasn't close throughout. But I mean, we'll see. Like I think the story of
Yeah.
this is once again not enough sample size for any of the teams.
Yeah, I just think Aaron Rodgers might actually be a 40-year-old quarterback, for better or for worse. I'm not saying he sucks, he's sloppy, he's not going to make no plays. Like I think he can get into the right play call or whatever, but I don't think he's Tom. Like I just don't think he's going to do some Tom shit.
Yeah, I mean, Tom was a complete pocket quarterback, and Aaron Rodgers, even though we know what Aaron Rodgers could do from within the pocket, it's kind of like shades of the Russell Wilson thing, where it's like he can't do all that no more. He can't do that improvising. So let's just see
Yeah.
how he gets out the mud. But yeah, if you've been rapping about them for a minute, just interesting with the head coach being fired shortly after. But yeah, this one is disgusting. Um, Dolphins Patriots. I mean, this is easily before the game the worst matchup of the year. And I mean, what you guys say about this one, man?
I don't have anything to say. I personally don't. I mean, like you're seeing why Tua's gonna like the Dolphins won that game. Had they maybe lost the game, then Tua probably doesn't come back anytime this season. They just punt the season, but they ended up winning the game. They're 2-3, so they're still competitive. And Tua is probably going to be back after the week 8 bye now. As for the Patriots, they're just doing whatever they're doing their thing. Like they're going. They played a tough game. They
What
didn't
do you
end up
mean they're
winning.
doing the thing? What does that mean?
I don't know, bro. I have no idea. Like I mean, I'm not. The Patriots are the
All
Patriots.
right, so
They're punting the
this
season,
so
and they want like they're what I'm saying. They're punting the season, so they just doing what they do. I have no investment into the Patriots, so it's not like what I'm saying.
now I feel you, but what we talked about earlier in terms of apparently Drake May is starting against the Texans. Now, my thing and what I was trying to say to you earlier, I was like, let's just save it for the pod, is I felt like if they're going to start him at all, this was the perfect spot to start him. Why start him against the Texans? It just makes no sense to me. It kind of seems like they don't really have a plan. Like they're just kind of
No, I
waking up
think
week
they.
by week
I
and just
I I think
doing
they did have
whatever.
a plan. I think they did have a plan. They just got impatient, and this is what that looks like when you get impatient. I think they did have a plan. The plan was we don't want him to have bad habits. It's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But they're like, oh, we got this
What do you
rookie.
mean by
They're
bad
saying
habits?
creating bad habits. You create bad habits when you have a horrible offensive line. You create bad habits when what I'm saying. You don't have uh, really anything around you. So
So
they
you
were
think
trying to eliminate that, but they're like, and now they're like, you know what? Fuck that idea. Let's play him. So all right, if you want to play him, let's see what he has.
Yeah, but that's
Just wait
not
and see.
really. I don't think that's having a plan and just not following it. I just think that's not having a plan because that doesn't make any
Right,
sense to me. It just doesn't.
right. It don't make. I
And
mean, it don't make sense to me either. But it's like again, I, I just, you know what I mean. It's the Patriots. We know they putting the team. We putting the season. We fading the Patriots. We don't really believe in them. No one. We don't have anybody on their fantasy team. Like we know they
and
ass.
this is why the Bengals losing to them week one was just so head scratching and major for. And we'll get to that Ravens Bengals game. We'll get to that, but yeah, man, Patriots super confusing. I felt like I was siding with you in terms of let's just have Brissett or whoever play for the rest of the season, but I mean, you can't. This was the perfect spot to have him in because let's say he wins this game, May's 1-0 as a starter of the Patriots, and then at least they have some players on defense in the Dolphins. So it's not like you weren't playing anybody.
I
You
mean,
know what I
I,
mean?
I guess my thing is I don't have the expectation that he's going to come in and be better than what we seen from Jacoby Brissett.
So you're
I guess
just super low on Drake May.
no, I'm not. I'm not. I'm super low on the talent he's surrounded by. And it's like, I don't think he's going to come in and be 85 yards better than Jacoby Brissett with the same team. If he is, then I'll be impressed by that. But I don't have him doing anything outside of dropping back, taking one look at his first read and getting the hell out of there, so he doesn't get killed. Like that's what I have him doing.
I just think like the fact that they don't, yeah, obviously they don't have the best weapons, but they don't, it's not like they have zero weapons. I mean, Ramondre Gibson in the backfield, Jalen Polk, you spent like a second round pick on him, Demario Douglas, I really like Hunter Henry, consistent veteran tight end.
Who are they start? Who would those players that you named be starting over if they were on a different rosters? Like, what would they
Less
start for your football team?
Hunter Henry might.
Right.
Hunter Henry might. I'm
With the
not sure
wideouts.
about in terms of the wideouts. No, not really.
You
Not
know what
really.
I'm saying? And then like Jalen Polk, like again, I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to be a stud, and he might even end up being a solid stud by the end of the year. But you know what I mean?
But I mean, if we're talking about
I'm
weapons, wouldn't Ramondre start for y'all?
Ramondre, yeah, but Ramondre went off. He scored the touchdown, their lone touchdown. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So it's
So
like, what more is he going to do?
I mean, so if their game plan is to establish the run, do whatever, I think with the weapons that they do have, limited as they might be, Drake May will be able. I mean, see, I'm a Giants fan, so I was high on Drake May. That's who I wanted in the draft. Obviously, I'm happy with Neighbors, but I'm high on Drake May, so it's kind of we got to wait and see type of thing. I mean, but
Right,
beyond
and
that, it's just speculation.
yeah, and that's the thing, and that's why I was saying, like, I don't, if he plays, cool, but if he doesn't, I understand that too. But now I can understand some people, they want to see the guy, especially because we've seen all these other rookies and we want to be able to compare him. We want to compare him. Let's see how he does against da da da. And it's just like, he'll get his time, and that's going to be this Sunday. We'll see what it is. We'll see what the product is.
So, do you not agree with me that if they were going to start him at all, it would have made more sense to start him here and then push him out against the
I,
Texans?
I just personally don't have an opinion on it, like on the
What?
organization. Like, just that's kind of how I feel.
What?
Like, I just don't have an opinion on
I'm not asking for
it.
an opinion on the organization. I'm asking
Yeah,
specifically, wouldn't it have made more sense if you're going to start him at all to start him against the Dolphins, who is pushing out Tyler Huntley, and their offense has been terrible, instead of C.J. Stroud and D'Amico Ryan's defense?
I mean, I don't know. I guess they were trying. Were they trying to win the game?
I'm asking like
Yeah,
what you think though. Like, do you not think it would have made more sense to do that?
I personally don't think it matters. Like, I just don't think it matters.
What do you mean it does?
Like, I don't.
How?
I think like it. I just don't think. Like, I think he's not going to. I don't think he wins the game. Like, I don't think he would be good enough to
But what do
win
you think
that game.
makes more sense? Not this neutral thing. Would it make more sense to do what they're doing now, or look, if we're going to start them,
Nah, I don't
let's
think
give
that
them an
makes sense
easier
at all.
matchup, huh?
Yeah, I don't think that necessarily makes sense at all. But it's like, all right, if you want to put him out there, put him out there.
What doesn't make sense at all?
That they're playing them against Houston. Like, that they
Okay,
chose to play them against
so
Houston.
we're
Yeah.
on the same side here with that.
Yeah, like if you're gonna start him, I guess start him when he's playing at home. I would do that. You know what I mean? I don't think that, but again, I don't think they're looking at the matchup. Like, I don't think that the coaching staff or whatever is looking at the
Well,
matchup or whatever. And
the
it's like,
Patriots are home against the Texans, but
okay, so at least he does get a start at home. So maybe that's why they're like, all right, well, we'll put him out this week. That way he can get a home start before they go on a bye or before they play away.
they had a home start right here, which was an easier matchup. So I'm just saying, like, if you're going to
Right.
start him at all, I felt like their decision not to start him against the Dolphins meant we weren't seeing him until maybe later in the season. But the game after, and it's a considerably tougher opponent. That's what I'm saying. Like, it just doesn't make sense
Right.
to me.
Right, which is why they came to the conclusion that they're clearly not looking at the schedule the way we are. You know what I'm saying? They're not. They didn't. That's why I said I think someone got impatient and was like, you know what, fuck it, we're going to play him. Like, because you
Well,
would have done it that way. The legit, like, the logical way. Your reasoning makes sense. I understand your reasoning, what you're saying. I just don't think that organization was thinking like that. I just don't think they were
nah, I
thinking like
feel
that.
you. I feel you, which is, I mean, can't feel bad for them. They got 6 rings in our
Yeah,
generation, so
they'll get it figured out. They'll be all right.
yeah. All right, so Bills Texans. Speaking of head coaches, man, what how do you feel about? And we'll get into the rest of the game, but the ending and how that played out. Did you get a chance to watch this one? Did you
Yeah,
see what
I
Sean
watched it.
McDermott went ahead and
See,
did?
it is weird. It's weird because like I guess it's a Sean McDermott call, but like Sean McDermott's the defensive, he's a defensive coach.
Yeah,
Also,
but he's the coach.
it looked like I'm like 1,000% sure Josh Allen's ass had a fucking concussion. So that was another thing I thought was pretty weird too. I mean, that was a very
Yeah.
very bizarre sequence, especially because them punting to you was them like, all right, we'll go into OT. Like we're down to go into OT, and then you drop.
Ooh, I see where you're going with this, I think. Are you saying that because he actually did have a concussion, they're like, let's just try to end this now?
Maybe I don't know who was putting in those calls. That's something where we're gonna have to look into. You know the we'd have to look at that the interviewers asking questions to the coach that who made that call. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Like that was a little bizarre to me that you thought, and it was one thing for them. They threw it the first time. It was kind of like, I don't know why they did that, but okay, whatever. Then they drop back and they throw it again. And even the buddy on Red Zone was like, "Yo, what are they doing? Do they think that they're down?" Like he was literally baffled by this. Everybody's like, "What
I'm
are they doing?"
seeing I'm seeing McDermott said Bill's clock management was his fault. He's taking the blame for it. I'm not going to lie, and I feel like you're going to feel me on this. Between the Bills and the Bengals, depending on how this season ends for both those teams, I think you got to get both them coaches out of there. I think it's time for a change with both teams because this type of coaching, you're not going to beat Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid in the playoffs with this type of decision making. This is some rookie head coach stuff.
Well,
I mean, I,
I think you'd be surprised. All of the head coaches in the league have horrible clock management. Like all of them. It's like, yo, what are you doing? Even Andy Reid's ass. Like there be times where Andy Reid be doing on some nut shit when it comes to clock management. It's just like, it's just one of those weird things to where, and out of all the people that have on the sideline, they don't got no guy on the sideline in his ear talking about, hey, yo, this might not be a good idea. Like, look at the clock. All the analytical guys, all these analytic guys they have in their ear, all of these people, nobody is
it,
like
it was
who's
it
like
was it was super bizarre, bro. And the thing is, that's why I'm feeling like I don't know if that was your theory, but that was kind of what I was gathering from what you were saying. Like, what do you think about the possibility where it's like, yo, he's concussed, but we kind of already made the decision to still put him out there. We don't want to go into overtime. Let's just try to end it right here. And then hopefully we can play good enough defense where they don't get in the field position and we're still in overtime anyway. But at least we tried to escape with the dub without going. I don't know. I don't
yeah,
know.
but
So
I just think I think they just let him play with a concussion. Like I think they just
yeah,
let
they
him
were
play with a
giving him
concussion.
the smelling salts and all that.
Yeah, and it just was that situation at the end of the game was just super bizarre, especially because I mean them punting is them telling you like, yo, we're good, we're going into OT, and y'all just was like, no, y'all go ahead and try to kick it again, and they were like, all right, bet, and so they got in the field goal range, and they kicked it.
Yeah, I so assuming this is completely. I mean, he said it's his fault. Maybe that's just him taking accountability as the head coach, but you don't think that if they, I don't know, maybe they, let's say they're a wild card team and they get bounced in the first, you don't think they need to make a coaching change? Same thing with the Bengals, who the Bengals seem like they're not going to make the playoffs at all.
I mean, it's easier said than done. Like I just think that it's like, oh, we need a coaching change. All right, well, who? You know what I'm saying? Now, who are the
Bill, I
candidates?
mean, if they're so
Who
so
wants
far
to?
they've been going this defensive head coach and having the OC do their thing with Josh Allen. What if they brought in Bill Belichick?
Right. Then you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, because now that's what everybody's saying. Jets is Bill Belichick. Well, maybe he wants to play. Maybe he wants to go to.
Bill
So it's
Belichick
everybody.
doesn't
Mike
fuck with
Verbal.
the
It's like,
Jets. The Jets are not
right.
getting Bill Belichick. He's not going there.
So
But
it's just it is does do you want an offensive defensive coach? Maybe you want an offensive minded coach, and maybe we can unlock some more shit with Josh Allen. Like I just think when it gets to that point in time, it's like okay, we want to coach it. Is the coaching change going to be better? You know what I mean? Is there a better
I
coach out there
don't
that can
think
give
Bill
you better
Belichick. I think Bill
than
Belichick, the game ends differently than that, or their decision making at the end of the game
and
is
are they
different.
the only people like is Bill Belichick just like, yep, Bill's that's where I'm going. Is that where he wants to go? Is there no other
Well, I
team that
mean,
you know what I'm saying? Because
part
you
of the
don't do
reason why Harbaugh was so pressed to go to the Chargers because they have a quarterback. Josh Allen's a
right.
top 3 quarterback, so why wouldn't he?
Because who else is out there? That's all I'm saying is like where else is there? You know what I mean? What we gotta see what's going on because again, Jets have Aaron
I
Rodgers,
mean, I think
blah,
it's
blah,
more
blah.
about which,
So,
yeah, but we know about Aaron Rodgers, and we have to see more from him. We have more of a track record of Josh Allen being on this
and
team.
who else gets fired? Does Cincinnati's head coach get fired? Does Zach Taylor get fired? You know what I mean? Like
I think Buffalo's a way better, and that's what I wanted to get to. What do you think is the best job out there available moving forward? That obviously we don't know how
hey, what's up,
things are
Ma?
going to end up. Hmm? What'd you
Ma,
say? Pause it. But yeah, besides that, we'll see what they do in terms of Sean McDermott, how the season ends up. I mean, they're still in a good position to win the division. Patriots non-factor, Dolphins
and
non-factor.
their offense, if you watch them without Clear Shakur, they have no like weapons really like that. Like they don't they
Oh,
I think
don't get
Josh
me
Allen
started because Keon Coleman only if he just had one more catch, I would have won in my major money league. So
yeah, I just feel and even he did have a good play on the sidelines for the one touchdown, but like Josh needs some guys out there, and I'm not talking about
Devontae
Curtis Samuel.
Adams,
Hey, that's what I'm saying. They're going to be in the running for it. I don't think they're giving up no third for him, but I could definitely see them throwing a conditional fifth at him. I could definitely.
maybe I think it would take
I
maybe like a third and a fifth.
Yeah, I think they get outbid though. I mean, you already know where I already said where he's going. He's going to the Jets. If that wasn't more, if I was feet in the ground, 10 toes down about that last week. I'm even more in the sand now with that after what happened with the head coach Salah getting fired. I just think that
Just give them some juice. I find it funny that the Chiefs are even trying. It's like, bro, you know that they're not giving them to you, bro. Like,
I mean, yeah. And again, I don't necessarily think
you
it's
got to
even
kick the
trying.
tires, I guess. But like,
Yeah, I think it's just kind of like, what's good? What are people offering you for them? What are you
I
gonna do?
mean, from what I read, they offered him a second, but they're just not in the running based on being division rivals and whatnot.
Really? See,
Yeah, they're the
I'm
only
if
team that offered a second so far.
that's crazy because I would do that. Shit. Hey, here you go. Or even though I know the second's technically a third, but still, like at the red, if we had a what I mean, a player like that, and Philly want to offer us a second, or I mean, we do deals with Philly all the time. Like we've traded with Philly. Obviously we trade with Philly all the time.
So
If
let's
it was
say
beneficial for my
let's
team,
say so you would trade CD Lamb to the Eagles.
no, no, no. But I would trade. Okay, put it this way: I would make a trade for Jonathan Payne or was it Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen? Yeah, hell yeah, I'll give you a third for one of those cats. I'll give you a second. I'll give
Yeah,
you a
but
second
that's
for the
you
second.
getting somebody from them. I'm talking about one of y'all core pieces. You're trading that.
Well, they're not his Devontae Adams is it's like Amari Cooper. Say we still had Amari Cooper.
Hmm.
Yeah. If you were willing to over like if Philly was going to give us more than that fifth for Amari, yeah,
Okay,
you
that's a
gotta
good
do it.
example. That's a
You
good
gotta do it.
example.
You know what I mean? Because it's like you every this it NBA, I mean the NFL when it comes to trading, it's trade by tier. And when you're requesting a trade and when you got this turmoil with your team and you're over 27 years old, 28 years old, your value is capped at a certain number based off the fact that I still have to take on your contract and or extend you. So it lessens the value, and it obviously because of the rights of the first round pick having them for an extra year, a lot of teams they don't even start there, but they'll start at second with the fifth round comp to make it a first round compensation at the end of the day, or a third and a fifth. At the time, Antonio Brown was one of the best wide receivers, if not the best wide receiver statistically in the NFL, and the Raiders traded for him, and they traded for like a third, a fifth, and maybe like another
Yeah,
conditional
but by
six.
then he was already a nutcase. Devontae Adams, character wise, is like the polar opposite.
But he had not. I don't think at that time he had gone off the rails. Like I don't think they knew he was going
The
to be slow
signs were
enough.
there by
But
then, though.
yeah, but I'm just saying there was just disgruntled. He was a disgruntled player. Devontae Adams, he's not a nutcase or anything like that, but he's clearly just disgruntled, and he doesn't mind voicing his opinion. You know what I mean? He just doesn't. And I'm
I
not
mean, hey,
trying to.
when your head coach is liking those type of posts on IG, why not?
Well,
Because
I mean,
now
even
you
last
you
year
take the
though,
pressure.
you know what I'm saying? Even last year though,
Well,
like
yeah, that's why.
he's
But they
always
dipped him
voicing his
last year
opinion.
because there was no reason to bench Derek Carr for Jimmy G and do all
Well,
that
they
shit.
didn't bench him; they didn't sign him, and they
Was that
picked him.
last year? I might be getting
Mhm.
shit mixed up. But either
Yeah.
way, either way, the Bills. I mean, look, the Dolphins and Jets are both 2-3, and now they got the Jets. So this is an important matchup coming up for them. Head scratching decision by them over there. I agree with you. I think he was concussed, but yeah, they need Shakir back. What's the deal with his injury?
He has an ankle injury. I'm pretty sure it's a mild ankle sprain,
He says
but
he's day to day, so we just have to look out for practice
yeah,
reports.
yeah. I'm hopeful. I'm hoping that it was just a regular ankle sprain, and they were like, "All right, if you sit out this week, you'll be good to go and solid to play." You know what I mean? At full speed next week. And like you said, it's a Monday game, so they have an extra day. Uh, I like you said, we'll check the practice reports. Probably the Thursday one will be the big one to check with Clear Secure to see if he'll be playing or not. If he can get in, maybe a limited practice then, or even a full practice, he'll be all systems go. But if he gets a D not P on Thursday, he probably is not going to be in this week.
What if he gets a DMP Thursday, limited Friday?
I would still list him as doubtful. I would still probably list him as doubtful because that means I mean you know what I'm saying. He didn't get a full practice in. He got no practice in, and the limited he was probably working off to the side or something like that. Like he might not even gotten into
Yeah,
the.
and if they're trying to make this run, he's clearly a key piece to this offense. So no point in really rushing him back. Try to get Keon Coleman more involved and see. It's kind of similar to the Giants. I didn't mind Malik Neighbors playing it safe with him just to see what this offense would look like without him. And now we see what that looks like. Now we can work him in and make it more balanced. So
I
yeah,
got something for you.
Texans.
I got something for you since you wanted to bring him up. Josh Allen. I mean, what's his name? Daniel Jones is playing better than Aaron Rodgers right now.
Daniel Jones is playing better than a lot of quarterbacks right now.
Yeah. So
So
yeah, I
it's,
mean,
it's interesting stuff. I mean, we'll see how he ends, but we'll get to the Giants. We'll get to the Giants, but yeah, not much to take away from this. Just it's really the ending of the game that was kind of weird and confusing. They were in the
I mean, it's
midst of it for
unfortunate. Nico Collins, makes a tremendous play and hurts his hamstring, pulls his hammy. From there, Stephon Diggs kind of took over the situation, and this was his revenge game. I really thought he would get into the end zone, but he still had a really, really good day.
Hey,
And
did you see how he kind of like side-eyed Josh Allen after they definitely don't, at least he doesn't mess with
did you see
Josh.
a lot? Like, did you see the live version of it?
I didn't see it like live.
It happened so quick. It's like I can't believe they even got that pick. Like you couldn't even tell that he side eyed. It looked
No,
like
no, 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 for real. Like I was looking at it like, all right, so when does this screen grab even happen? I had to like replay that joint like two, three times.
yeah, yeah. I was like, yo, how did they even catch that perfect thing. Because I mean, me personally, I still feel like he didn't do that on purpose when I saw the way they
Come
interacted in real
on,
life.
bro.
But
The
again,
Diggs, he clearly don't like
right.
yo. And that's why I
All right.
think like
Yeah.
this final destination, I think this is where he's gonna be. I think it's a good fit. I think Stroud's a great leader by example and
I
by
mean, he's a free agent next year. So this is kind of one of those things. All right, we'll rent him, do your thing. We'll see what the market is for you. If we can bring you back and you healthy and you had a good year for us, we'll match. If they outprice us, you know what I mean. If one of these teams outprice us, it is what it is. I'm glad you had a good year with us and enjoy your next destination. You know what I mean. At the end of the day, money talks, especially with a cat like Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, but I know this doesn't have to do with the X's and O's, but let's be real about Diggs as like, a person. He was just in Minnesota and then he was in Buffalo. Houston, I kind of get James Harden's vibes from Diggs where it's like, I like it here in Houston. So I think he
Yeah,
would
no.
stay for something cheaper just to
I
be
don't
a
think.
part of this
Yeah,
offense.
we'd have to
No
see that.
state
We had
income tax too. I think he
right,
takes a little bit less just because this is like, let me hop on this rocket ship and not
and
be
because
bounced from team to team.
that's where it comes down to what's a little bit less. You know what I'm saying? Is he taking $1 million less? Is he taking $3 million less?
Well,
You know, it's
they
like
gotta that. Well, Nico Collins is the wide receiver one, so we're not going to pay you wide receiver one money.
exactly, and they just extended him on a great deal, on a phenomenal deal.
That's what I'm saying. He's just
So
going to have to. I mean, if I was in his camp, I'd be like, bro, you're a millionaire. Like, just make some investments. But this is you. This feels like you. Just
right. I mean,
make it work.
again, but we'll see because he'll have a market. At the end of the day, we'll have a market. And again, if I agree with you, if all things considered are the same, I think he stays with the Texans. I just think that if he has the year that you feel like he's about to have, I think that someone out there is going to toss him a bag. You know what I mean? And that's just the nature of the beast. And if someone's giving him wide receiver one money, he might not even take 14 mil. You know what I mean? If someone's giving him north of 25 again, 20, 25 again, you got to take it, you know? And that's why I think it's just relative to where his
What's his
what the
priorities
market is. Yeah. What the
and his
market is for him.
priority? Yeah, that too.
So,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
yeah, let's move on to the next one.
because I could definitely see him being a Raven. I mean, like he got Raven written all over him, and Ravens don't mind paying money for veterans.
Yeah, but in terms of how much he gets the ball, that's still a priority of his, how they run
Shit,
that offense.
right?
But Panthers, Bears, this was a game where I'm like, yo, see, we told you, just give Caleb some time. Like I remember Eddie was like, yeah, Caleb's just trash. And I'm like, he is not trash. He's a rookie. He's going to be fine. And then he does this because he was thinking about putting the Panthers in a dog parlay. And I was like, I wouldn't do that. I kind of talked him out of it. So,
Yeah, I mean the Panthers defense is, but we got to give credit to Caleb, like you're saying, like you know what I mean. He came out, had
and
a
Swifty
solid
boy.
outing. Yeah, I mean Swift he's starting to kind of get it figured out a little bit. He's doing some things in the passing game. Second game with over 100 yards all purpose, 100 all purpose yards. I think that this was a nice little spot for DJ Moore. He got his 100 yards, and the more that they limit the players that they're trying to give the ball to on offense, and they can slim that down, I think the better that they'll be, or at least the better Caleb would be. They were talking about how they like the fact that he was reading some of the defenses. It looks like he's taking a little bit off of some of the throws. He's getting a better feel for the game. I, you know,
And just less
at the
mistakes.
yeah, at the end of the day, he's getting compared to the rookie class because Jaden Daniels is doing such a spectacular, having such a spectacular season. I mean, people are saying that he's having an MVP season, and also, whatever the situation was with Justin Fields, having Pittsburgh being 3-0 at that time or whatever. People are like, oh, I can't believe Justin Fields. Justin Fields' ceiling isn't Caleb Williams' ceiling. Y'all didn't draft Caleb Williams to compete this year, go to the NFC East Championship, and like contend for a title. Y'all drafted him to be a high ceiling franchise QB for multiple years to come. Justin Fields is in a great place for the way Justin Fields plays football. We can still make the argument that there's not 32 quarterbacks better than Justin Fields, and he deserves to be a starter on somebody's football team. But when you have the opportunity to get a franchise QB
Rare
with a
ass
very high,
opportunity.
yeah, with a super high ceiling, you have to take it. And what happens between the first 5 weeks of that transaction is going to mean absolutely nothing to you.
Irrelevant,
And
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 that's
and, and
and there
by the middle of this
people
contract.
people are too quick to just try to cast judgment, overreact, and at the end of the day, bro, with Caleb Williams, even if you thought Justin Fields was in the same tier, financially it just made more sense to move
For the
on from
reset.
him.
For
Yeah,
the reset.
yeah,
And
reset that rookie
um,
deal, and yeah,
obviously he's going to be compared to the quarterbacks that are in his class. But another thing you have to understand, and this is no shade on Jaden Daniels. He's getting compared to Jaden Daniels, who is, I want to say, 3 or 4 years older than he is. Jaden Daniels is 24. Caleb is
yeah,
2021.
yeah,
And
he's
also,
definitely older.
Jaden Daniels has 6 years of college. Caleb had 3. Like, so at this time in Jaden Daniels' trajectory, that boy was still in Arizona State's playbook. And Antonio Pierce was the defensive coordinator, and Herman Edwards was like the head coach. Like,
Well,
you know
they're
what I
they're
mean?
only they're only a year apart. Caleb's turning 23 next month, and then Jaden Daniels turns 24 in 2 months. But in
Caleb,
terms of the
no, he's
college,
old.
who?
Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I thought he was younger than that too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, he was old, but hey, but still, it's like he had 3 years of college. He's still seeing stuff for the first time, and I do respect Jaden Daniels, and I liked him as a prospect because of this. I think that extra year of college, that it helps you see the field more, which means you're seeing more defenses. So it's like, okay, I got the answer for this. Oh, okay, I know what to do. I know what to do when I got this type of talent going against the opposing team's talent on the other side of the ball. I'm gonna throw this joint up here and da da da. And I don't want to say he's in his grown man body. I hope this is his grown man body, but he does have a grown man arm. I mean, that man has a rocket of an arm. But even Jaden Daniels at like 17 years old, he was a starter. He was a freshman starter. Like, he had a rocket arm then. He just couldn't read defenses. He wasn't accurate. And now I think, being able to use that extra COVID year of college, I really think he benefited from it. And it's part of the reason why him and also Joe Burrow, when he came out, are these excellent, accurate read and react quarterbacks.
Yeah, but on the flip side for Caleb, his time at USC, I kind of like that he had to, have his growing pains there in terms of the offensive line, not being on like some super team where the defense is full of NFL starters and you got a super good O line, you have all these weapons. So he's seen adversity at the college level, which is important. And I think, once again, we're on the same page with this. He's going to be fine. When it comes to the Panthers, I think, I think that first game, when you make that quarterback change, that's when you have the most juice. Kind of similar to when coaches get fired and they usually win that next game and rally with each other. I think the Panthers back down to earth, more the same, going to be in the same boat as like the Patriots. So
Right. The one thing but you can, Andy Dalton's doing what Andy Dalton would do as a backup. He's why he's probably one of the better backups in the NFL. And if you had a team like the San Francisco 49ers or whoever else we want to consider a contender, like Minnesota, you would love to have him as a backup quarterback because he can do his thing for a few games, but at the end of the day, it's still Andy Dalton and he still has his deficiencies.
And there's a reason why he's a backup.
Right, right. But it's good for the Panthers because they can actually evaluate some of the talent that they have. I mean, Chuba Herbert looks like a legit running back, so that's
Yeah.
cool.
So, and they might have that nice tandem with him and Jonathan Brooks whenever he gets his start. And yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
just keep them draft picks, man.
So, and back to this game. This right here
Speaking of
is,
Jaden Daniels,
yeah, this right here, as much as, we'll get into Deshaun Watson or whatever, but we gotta go to Jaden, man. And the first quarter, the Browns, it looked like they were playing a little bit of some inspired football on defense. This was the first time it looked like he actually had to figure some things out. I looked like they picked him off in the first half. He also had he had like a sack. They had to punt. We got to say that because these cats don't punt. And, unfortunately, for the Browns, their defense was always on the field. I mean, I thought this was going to be one of those games where the Browns played inspired football and kind of kept it close, maybe lost at the end because of a
you're,
field
you're
goal or
you're
something like
you're you're
that.
trying to shoot yourself some bail for that pick. Somebody in the TikTok was like, "Hey,
Nah,
let's age like milk." Did you see that comment?
yeah, but I mean, I'm not going to shoot. I'm not going to shoot myself bail, bro, because look, I don't. I say there's no such thing as a lock. I can only say what I believe in, and what I believed is that they were going to come out playing some inspired football. What I did not know was that Deshaun Watson is just really, really just a shell of himself. Like it doesn't. There's nothing. If this game right here didn't light a fire under him or make him want to figure out something so we can get a win for his team, for his offense, then it's just not going to happen. I mean, he just don't get rid of the ball. He just doesn't get rid of the ball. I mean, his head coach, he quit on his head coach. He quit on his team. I don't know if he quit or not, but it looked like he walked off the field and it looked like his head
I
coach
don't
was like,
think it
yeah, I
was
think I'm done.
exactly that, but still the body language terrible. I mean, yeah, shell of himself. And I think once again, and I keep hammering this home, to separate what happens on and off the field, usually you could do that, but this is such a we haven't seen a situation like this before with his off the field issues. And
I
I
mean,
think
bro, look,
eventually, hold
yeah.
on, eventually, that, bro, that gets into your psyche, along with the fact that he was coming off an injury. It's the Browns, and yeah, man. I mean, worst contract in NFL history, maybe sports history. I
There
mean,
was a time where he was a top 5 quarterback. There was a time, it's true, and he won multiple conference championships for the Texans, and he'll never be that quarterback again. He'll never be that quarterback again. And also, I want to give a shout out to the Commanders because their defense played well, their offensive line played well, and to be whooping on teams like they're whooping on teams. This is the third team in a row that they just straight up belt to ass whooped on a team. That's no hard feat right there. Like you got to give that team a lot of respect. So you know what I mean. Like I said, they proved me wrong, and it looks like they're going up against another team, Ravens, who they had their
hey
deficiencies on
man, I wish I
defense
was
too.
back in the DMV for
So
that one. That one. When's the
right,
last time both these teams are good together? I mean, that's mainly
right,
the Commanders' fault, but still, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, they're winning the division right now, even though they should have
And
an extra L.
shout
If
out to
I
the
respect the
coaches.
Chiefs.
Shout out to the coaches too. Shout out to Dan Quinn for getting that defense right. And shout out to Cliff Kingsbury. I thought he could only manage drunk quarterbacks. Turns out if he gets one that's not drunk, he actually is a pretty good coach. And again, I don't know, have they I don't think they have, but I'm interested to see the Commanders when they play a Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan deep offense, because that's really the only time Dan Quinn had
Well, let's see
issues.
how they do against the Ravens. I mean, shit. I think Lamar had the play of the year when
I mean,
he
I think that's going to be.
stiff
I think that's.
armed that kid outside the pocket
I mean, I think
and
it's
just
going to be a
completed that
shootout.
pass deep.
I actually, like I think it's going to be a shootout for sure because Lamar's not letting his team lose right now, and the kid's balling, and he's not scared of nothing. So I don't think he's going to. I don't think the Commanders are going to stop scoring right now. At least it doesn't look like it.
It's just
Nobody's figured
about
out how to
if
stop
their
it.
defense could get on that level. And like you said, maybe it's not a Sean McVay offense, but you got a dynamic guy in Lamar and tons of weapons all over. So
Right.
that's going to be an interesting one. It's also funny too, side note, and the Browns have the Eagles here soon, but the Browns pretty much are getting swept by the NFC East, which is kind of funny.
I just think that, bro. I think it's until they bench him, they're going to lose. They're going to
I
lose.
think I think they just. What would you do if you were them? To me, I would just
I
we
mean,
took it out. We got finessed. We got finessed, but we
the owner's
can't
not
keep
going to do
pushing
that.
this.
The owner's not. You know what I'm saying? It's not even the head coach. If it was up to the head coach, they probably wouldn't even have took Buddy. But the owner and the GM, they made this decision, and I think that even right now, the owner and the GM are the ones that are the reason that he's still out there. Like I just think that's what the situation is calling for.
Hmm.
You know what
Well,
I'm saying?
let's see. So they have the Eagles coming up. So NFC East gauntlet early in the season. So let's see how that goes because the Eagles kind of have their own question marks. But yeah, Ravens Bengals division game uh came down to the wire. This one went into overtime. I think this might be like what the second overtime game of the year.
Yeah. Yeah, well, second one that they played or almost played in. Shoot, they almost went to overtime first game of the season.
Hmm. But yeah, man, Derrick Henry proving why that was such a good pickup, in my opinion. Makes that offense scare, makes kind of compels them to lean on the run. And Justice Hill, who they extended, nice little 1-2 punch, even though he didn't go crazy this game in terms of his activity. And then Isaiah Likely, red zone demon, 2 touchdowns, kind of helping buffer the deficiencies that Mark Andrews has right now. Charlie Cole.
Yeah.
Man, they love tight ends over there, don't they?
Hey, but I mean, goddamn, like they're good. They're good. So I get. I mean, it's working for them, and they're finding these cats that ball right now. Unfortunately, Mark Andrews he had to get a decent game. He had a better game, but he's just not.
He's not
He's
the
not
same.
the
He's not
face
what
of
we're
the
used to.
right. And he's not the face of this offense. This offense is evolved. They have Zay Flowers in his second year. You just talked about the acquisition of Derrick Henry and what that's doing for their team. It makes you want to do for your team. You want to run the ball more. They still got Lamar. And I mean, it was all hands on deck for this one, because Joe Burrow is still Joe Burrow. And this is like the second or third game in a row that like he didn't lose the game for his football team. It just damn, the damn defense can't get a stop. They can't get one stop. My man put up 38 points and lost, and he put up 35 points and lost, 35 points and lost because the team kicked 2 field goals. You know what I mean? Like that was the difference between the game when they played the Commanders or whatever. It is just like it sucks because I remember seeing games and seeing the quarterback that I grew up watching, Tony Romo, do this all the time. 3 for 39, 392 yards, killing it, 5 interceptions. But because he threw one pick, his team loses the game. And it's like, that's how you end up 1-4 and lose every single game by less than 6 points. And it's going to be a tough season for him. It's Joe Burrow, so he still might find a way to get him to 9-7. But it's going to have to be MVP season for him for sure.
And that's why that week one, that's why I was kind of like, I was damn near out on them from that. And the question was, oh, well, maybe the Patriots are better than we thought. And it turns out they're not. So that was a game they had to have. And that's really going to haunt them for the rest of the season, especially with who they have coming up. They have the Giants, Sunday night football. Um, Unlike Kirk Cousins, Daniel Jones is actually pretty bad prime time. So maybe this is a spot where they ride the ship. And then they have the Browns, and then they have the Eagles and the Raiders, and then the Ravens again. So
Right.
maybe they go on some type of run. The Browns are kind of a non-factor in that division. And then besides that, you got to deal with the Steelers. But this isn't a division where you could just lose some of the games that they're losing. Like that
I mean,
slow start
especially the
stuff.
games you're in. You're in, you know what I mean? You're in these games and to lose, I mean, just to lose the game the way they lost it. They had the ball and they ran it 3 times and made their kicker kick essentially a 60-yard field goal, 50 something, 56-yard field goal or something like that.
Definitely a
And
super deflating loss.
yeah, and it's like, especially when it's like, yo, he's been killing it all game. Get 7 yards real fast, and let's just kick this thing. And I get it. You ideally, hindsight 2020, we would love to just be able to ground and pound, run the ball, and get 7. You know what I'm saying? 6 to 7 yards, kick a 50-yard field goal, get out of there. And McPherson isn't a bad kicker, but it's just like you don't want anybody. I don't even want Brandon Aubrey kicking 58 yarders. I love the fact that he can do it. But you know what I mean? If we could get a little bit closer, I would prefer us to do that, especially with the game on the line.
Nah, for real. Yeah, man, that's one tough loss. Ravens are rolling though. Um,
Mhm.
they're gonna be a tough beat in the playoffs. I expect them to win this division. But yeah, the Jags getting their first dub at home against their division opponent here in the Colts. A game they had to have. Joe Flacco almost had those boys still being one of the only teams without a dub. But let's go with your boy Trevor Lawrence, man. You think
Uh,
they figure it out now? This is what they needed.
I mean, sometimes yeah, you need to be playing the Colts. Sometimes,
What does that
and
even mean, bruh?
I mean the Colts are pretty depleted right now on defense. They don't have a solid defense right now. I mean, at least not their DBs. So it looked like Jacksonville, he had a good game. It's his birthday. Tank Bisbee ran the ball well, and it was a breakout game for Brian Thomas. And people called it all week. They're like, "Yo, this cat, he's hit him." They were like, "Listen, he's going to go all over his overs, use him anytime touchdown, all of that," and that's what happened. I mean, I'm pretty sure he smashed it on one play. I think he had like a 85-yard touchdown. So that was it right there. But it looked like the offense got figured out. They didn't have Evan Ingram, but he went to his guy Kirk. Big plays from Thomas. Travis Etienne got a little bit involved. Even
And
Gabe
even
Davis
the backup tight end Brenton Strange finds the end zone again, like he did last week.
right.
So
I mean, shit. I would love to have had this on my goddamn fantasy team at tight end. So
he actually
good.
won me my week last week when I needed a fill in for George Kittle. I almost went with the 49ers backup tight end, but I knew that Trevor Lawrence loves throwing it to tight ends. So I was like, if I could just get a touchdown from Strange, I'll be good. And if I went with the Niners backup tight end, I would have lost. So shout out to Strange.
Yeah.
Looks like Tank Bigsby is taking over that backfield. I mean,
So Travis Etienne hurt his shoulder. And they sat him out after that. But I mean, every time
but he still
I
Tank's
saw,
Bigsby looks like he has more juice
yeah, every time I
regardless.
saw Tink Bigsby, it looked like, he was ripping off some beautiful runs. He even had a beautiful screen, yeah, right here that went for 28 yards. So, like again, they had a good game, and I'm not praising the C, look, but it's just like, hey, you call a good game. The quarterback's capable of putting the ball in the playmaker's hands. He had a few throws that were pretty solid. Trevor Lawrence, that's what you get. And then here's the fun part: Joe Flacco out here still throwing nukes, still tossing
Mhm.
nukes. That's just what he does. He just throws nukes. He just gets out there and he just throws nukes.
Yeah, I mean that would have been a great game for them to win because then they'd be 3-2 instead of 2-3 and be right behind the Texans. But Colts are very like any given Sunday type team. I don't really believe in the Titans that much, and the Jags. They're going to have to rattle off a win streak for me to kind of be in on them again. It's weird
I
because
mean, I
it
don't think
just
anyone
seems like it just
should
seems
be
like
in on them.
what's the issue with them? Why do they have 4 losses? They have weapons all over. They have a franchise quarterback that they just paid. They have a pretty good D line. They have some pieces in the defensive back unit. So I
Yeah,
don't really.
football is it's a strange game. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna have a team. We're gonna have a team that's hot right now, or is gonna be hot for like the next month. That's gonna implode, and we're gonna also have a team that is struggling at the moment, who sneaks into the back end of the playoffs and upsets somebody. It happens every single year. You know what I mean? And it's going to be somebody. Why not? Why not the Jaguars? Just like how they haven't won a game since November. Maybe they go rip off 8 weeks of wins or something crazy. We you know what I'm saying? So that's the beauty of the sport.
Yeah, and shout out to my boy Alec Pierce, man. I told you from week one, that's that boy, that deep threat, along with Josh Downs doing his thing. He's
Right.
nasty.
Well, I mean, I would have told anybody who would listen to start anyone on the Indianapolis Colts with Joe Flacco playing. Like that's what he does. He throws bombs. He just straight up throws bombs. The only person that didn't get one was Michael Pittman. But like Josh Downs, 9 targets for 69 yards. You know what I'm saying? If you were a PPR, you came up.
12 targets, nine receptions.
Yeah. So it's just one of those situations where I think that that's the spot. Like I won money off of that spot. Literally betting Brian Thomas, or Brian, is that name? Brian Thomas? Yeah, Brian Thomas
Yeah,
Jr., Joe Flacco over his yards,
BTJ.
Josh Downs receptions, and then Josh Downs yards. Like it was that was the spot right there. Um yeah, this is actually kind of interesting. I mean, good for the Broncos. They got their dub. But at one point, man, the Raiders were playing good. The Raiders were playing well, and I think they were even up.
They were up and it was looking good because I had the Raiders as a dog in one of my parlays. And what happened was a complete momentum shift when they're up 10-0. It looked like they were about to be up 17-0 or 13-0. So turnover, and then
Pat
the
Sertan.
Broncos, yep. The Broncos just took over from there. The defense is looking crazy. I know that Travis Hunter recently said that he'd love to play in Colorado still because of the culture and the support he's getting from, the city. So,
And because
hey,
Denver
imagine.
Broncos going to have a high pick.
I mean, do we know that?
Yes. Yes, we know that. We know that.
Okay, you're tripling down on my boy Bo Nix. He's looking pretty. He's looking exactly what Sean Payton wanted.
Really. I don't think that they won that game because of Bo Nix.
I'm not saying he ain't won it, but he's not losing them games.
I mean, I hope he doesn't lose again. Again, I had them actually winning this game. I thought this would be finally this time where they could smack up on the Raiders because of all the chaos that they were dealing with earlier in the
You're making
week.
it sound like they're
Uh,
not 3-2.
Bro, that means nothing to me. I just said that there's a team that's hot right now that's going to implode, and there's a team that's struggling right now that's going to get hot. So, like, yeah, I mean, again, they have a beautiful defense, and he doesn't have to do much. But they were playing the Raiders, who struggle
So you're
against
not
the
going to give
run.
him any type of credit, yo.
I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, you know what I mean? Just because your team wins in an ultimate team sport, don't mean you got to praise the QB.
You don't gotta praise him, but he played well.
Okay. All right. He played well.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's tough.
that's not where, and that's not even to be rude. I don't want that to come off as like, but like he played well, but like we know when QBs when they get their money. We know what makes QBs. Oh, okay, it's those moments. It's that it's that time. And
Yeah, but
again,
he's a
he's going to
rookie.
have right, but regardless of the situation, he's been winning. What this is a 3-game win streak for them.
Yeah,
Is a 3-game win. So he's been winning for the past 3 weeks, just like Jaden Daniels, but it's quiet for him. You know what I mean? Why is it quiet for him? He's been doing his thing.
yeah, kind of. I mean, the game before, the weather was terrible. They won
He
barely
beat
10-9.
he beat Aaron Rodgers.
They beat the Bucks pretty
He
handily
smacked up on
before that.
the Bucks.
And even in the games they lost, I mean, they're not getting blown out. So obviously the defense is kind of the story here. But yeah, it's also a matchup thing. Steelers aren't going to be blowing nobody out. So they lost that by 7. But yeah, the Raiders tank season. Christian Wilkins, I think, is out for the year. So that's tough. They're getting ready to trade Devontae Adams. And
Right. Sometimes it's not about who you play, it's about when you play them in this league. You know what I mean? And that's why we it's awesome to be able to watch how this plays out week by week. It's awesome.
yeah, for sure. But I don't really have much more on that. Good home win, 3-game winning streak. Let's see if they become one of those teams that you're talking about that kind of implodes on themselves. But
Right. Because we know what happens when they start to implode. And I can guarantee that when they start to implode, Sean Payton is 100% throwing somebody under the bus. It will not be his fault.
all right, man, you dining on that hill. We'll see in a couple
Yes.
weeks. We'll revisit that. So damn, this was a tough loss for the Niners, division matchup. I think the story of this game is their defense just isn't what we're used to seeing from the Niners at the end of the day. I mean, their key
Mm,
pieces are playing well, but I mean, you're able to run on them. They're just not closing out these games. But, I'm not hopping off the Niners train. I think they're
you
going to be
sure at
fine.
2-3? At 2-3, the Jacksonville Jaguars are 1-4. The Denver Broncos 3-2.
So,
So okay, I mean, I'm just saying, but that's the thing though. And like even Shanahan, they're like, yo, he always has slow starts. He's like 8-8 or something like that over like the past few seasons when it comes to like the beginning of the season. And but there's something that you said is the defense. And they held them to 24 points. I think it's the fact that I think it's that Christian McCaffrey factor that kind of for San Francisco that they're just missing. And it's not even to say, you know, Jordan Mason isn't good. I would love to have Jordan Mason on the Cowboys. Like, I would love to have him. But I think what C-Mac can do, he was a guaranteed one touchdown. Like he guaranteed you one touchdown by himself. And if they had that one touchdown that he comes with, then they win this game. And he is what he can do out the backfield, not just running the ball. It's what he does out the backfield, catching the ball, and how that puts a strain on the defense because you can't lock in and focus on Brandon Ayuk, which your cornerback one, and then you got the safety and your slot guy or whatever focusing on Debo while you got another safety and your backers worried about George Kittle. You know what I mean? It's like, all right, we can all be assigned to these things when we only have to worry about the running back running the ball. But when we got this elite offensive weapon out the backfield, it just kind of it messes everything up for a defense because you can't account for what he can do. You just can't. Christian McCaffrey is what I'm talking about. And I think right now, like his abilities on the football field are greatly missed for this offense. And it's kind of showing me why he was the perfect fit for them. And it sucks that, if he's not able to come back at full health, like it would really suck if they weren't able to capitalize and win that Super Bowl while they had a shot to.
Well, I think it's a blessing in disguise because if he was fully healthy, they'd be doing what they did last year and running his ass into the ground. So, I
Or,
believe in Kyle
or
Shanahan. What?
throwing his ass. I mean, running and throwing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I believe in Kyle Shanahan. They'll right the ship, and if he could just be back and healthy for the playoffs, you just have that boost at the perfect time. Versus, hey, we're trying to win every game. We're going to give you 25 touches, and we're going to have you catching it out the backfield like 6, 7 times, and we need you blocking because you're a tenacious blocker. So
Yeah,
it is what
and
it is. It's a division game. Those get kind of weird. This is one that the Cardinals are really happy to have because if they're 1-4, they're in the same boat as the Rams, and then they got one up on a division opponent, so that's
yeah, I
good for
mean,
them. Seahawks.
I don't know if you noticed, and that's why I think I do feel the way I feel. But it's just like, yo, everybody in the NFC is something and something. You know what I mean? Outside of Minnesota and even like the Commanders or whatever, but it's like, yo, everybody's smacking up on everybody right now. So I
Yeah,
just think there's
it's been really any given Sunday, and I
yeah,
like it. I like it like this because look, we have two undefeated teams, but the Jags got a dub, which means everyone's kind of somewhere between 1-4
and
and
two and
3 and
three,
2.
and two and
Right?
three.
Yeah,
You know
and
what I
two and
mean?
three,
Like,
and there's a couple 4-1s there, but the point is everybody still has a chance right now.
yeah, even
Um,
if you 1-4, you in this. You are in this bitch. Like, yeah.
yeah. And once again, it's funny that the two undefeated teams, they're going into their bye right now and they get to regroup and see if they could keep stuff pushing. But yeah, I'll take this one away. The 7-point dogs here in the Giants came out and did their thing. Like I said earlier, I was kind of I like the fact that we were at without Neighbors and Singletary, especially Neighbors, because we were just highly dependent on them. I wanted to see the tight ends put in there more. I wanted to see the ball be spread around more. I wanted to see what this offense looked without Neighbors. And DJ, he was really accurate with the deep ball. He got Slayton on a lot of those deep balls. He showed why Hyatt isn't really getting his chance right now. But story of the game on offense, besides DJ's efficiency, is Tyrone Tracy, 5th-round pick. Once again, he was a receiver for 4 years, and then his last year at Purdue, he transitioned to a running back, broke out, and now, you know, he's doing his thing when he got his opportunity. Eric Gray has his fumbling issues. Devin Singletary has his fumbling issues. So Tyrone Tracy, he got his opportunity once Eric Gray fumbled at the goal line, which questionable if it was a fumble at the goal line or if he got in for a touchdown, but that kind of changed the trajectory of this backfield. And I think once Devin Singletary comes back, Tyrone Tracy still needs to be a major part of this offense in this run game. Kid has a lot of juice, even though he's a 25-year-old rookie running back. Once again, he doesn't have all those college reps at running back. He was mainly a receiver. So that also helps catching out the backfield. And yeah, the defense, also the story of the game. I mean, dominant. The Giants are leading the league in sacks. Shout out to my boy Tibbs. I need to get myself a Dexter Lawrence jersey as that Malik Neighbors jersey is on the way. But yeah, I mean, the draft picks, it just looks like a great draft class. I mean, Tyler Nubin, 2nd-round pick, leading the team in tackles this game. Theo Johnson got involved, our tight end. Darren Waller, decided to retire randomly. And then, Drew Phillips, looking like a great nickel corner, looks like a good pickup. Um, and then obviously Malik Neighbors. So yeah, this is what I expected from this defense with 5th-round, 5th overall pick Kayvon Thibodeau coming into his 3rd year. The reason why we don't re-sign Saquon and Xavier McKinney, who has a pick in every one of his games so far, so he's balling out in Green Bay. I'm rooting for him. Shout out to X Man, but yeah, the reason why we didn't bring him back, he got paid. Saquon got paid the most as a running back, and he's doing his thing in Philly, is for Brian Burns. And Brian Burns made a key play here, but this is what I expect from this D line. When you have Dexter Lawrence in the middle as a nose tackle, getting 3 sacks in the game, and needing to be double, triple teamed every snap that he plays, I'm expecting Brian Burns and Tibbs to have more of an opportunity. Also, shout out to Elijah Chapman, um, undrafted free agent. An undrafted rookie that we rotate with DJ Davidson and Nacho. But yeah, man, the Giants. It should be interesting. Can
So
we?
what happened in the game? Did the Seahawks play?
Huh? Did they play? I don't know. Where's 14 at?
You just David Davis.
Oh, shout out to Deontay Banks. Deontay Banks as well, shutting down DK Metcalf. I mean, all right. So on the Seahawks side of things, with the Seahawks, it's interesting. It always hits me a little bit because not only is Geno, former Mountaineer. Shout out to W. Yep. He was a Giant. He backed up Eli. They have Julian Love. There at safety. We just traded him Leonard Williams last year. And then last year when we played him, Devin Witherspoon kind of took, not like inadvertently, just put more of a spotlight on DJ and his deficiencies as a first read quarterback. And also Deontay Banks said that DK Metcalf was the wide receiver who talked the most shit in his rookie season, and he came out, forced that fumble on him. But yeah, man, Giants just played a complete game. Isaiah Simmons at the end blocking that field goal attempt that was major, returning it back. Bryce Ford Wheaton, another WVU legend. I've been ranting about the Giants. Obviously, I'm real happy about this.
Yeah, and honestly, to give just some perspective on our last week's conversation or whatever, when the Cowboys played you guys, and for whatever reason, our own fans were trying to like discredit the win. They're like, "Nah, bro, like, like, man, we should have smashed them out." I'm in my head, I'm thinking like, did we not just watch the same football game? Like both of these teams are playing tough, but because y'all were the Giants and y'all supposed to be, Daniel Jones is supposed to be bad, and we're the Cowboys, they try to act like, oh, this is just two sorry teams. Well, I'm pretty sure Seahawks were -7.5 at one point going up against you guys, especially once Neighbors was going out. So that means that they were projected not to just beat y'all; they was projected to beat y'all by 7 whole points. And y'all came out and y'all, for whatever reason, y'all smashed them out at 9. Y'all smashed them out, beat them by 9 when y'all kind of actually had control of the entire game. I mean, y'all ran the clock down the entire first quarter. That would have been, and they got 7 points off of that. So y'all gave them a 7-point head start after milking the entire clock, 12 minutes or something crazy like that on that first drive that y'all had, where Eric Gray fumbled the ball and they picked it up for 6. So that's like deflating of some teams. For y'all to bounce back from that and then to only hold them to 20 points, like this is an offense that people believe in. This is an offense, and this is an offensive coordinator offensive coordinator that people they bought stock in them on fantasy, betting props, all of that.
You talking about the Seahawks?
Yeah, I'm talking about the Seahawks. I'm talking about Geno Smith.
They call him Boy Genius. So, and defense is supposed to be his thing, and Daniel Jones carved him up.
What's up with Kenneth Walker with five carries for 19 yards? I mean,
that was a major key too. Is
I thought the whole thing with y'all was y'all's runs defense was like, you know what I mean? Like I thought that was a situation. Well, it wasn't. And Kenneth Walker looked like he couldn't be tackled just last week. You know what I mean? Like you know what I'm saying? So it's just like people always want to discredit teams, or they want to try to downplay. But as the season goes on, you realize like, yo, this team's really tough. The Giants are 2-3. yeah, Daniel Jones might have some deficiencies, but yo, he's playing good football right now. Regardless if it's day ball putting him in the right position, regardless if there's a little luck behind it, all of that, it don't matter. He's playing good football. Like I wasn't joking earlier when I said, yo, he's playing better than Aaron Rodgers. Like right now, he's playing better than Aaron Rodgers. Maybe not throughout the entire season, but after week 5, yes, Daniel Jones is playing significantly better than Aaron Rodgers, and he's going into Seattle, the 12th man, and he's coming out with a win. So we shit on them all the time for when it goes bad. We got to give them credit when they do their thing. That was a big win for everybody on your team, and to do that without Malik, I mean,
And Devin
hey,
Singletary, who's been running
right,
well. How
okay, yeah,
how much
yeah,
how much do you think, like, with a team like the Seahawks, when you're home, you have the 12 man, like you said. I mean, it gets loud as hell in there. How much do you think it's just the Giants and they kind of take their foot off the gas?
well,
How
that's
much
what
do
you
you think
get.
that? Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. That's why it can be that, but that's why you get smacked in the mouth. You know what I mean? The Cowboys probably felt the same way when we played the Saints. It's the Saints. We got this one. Well, you still have to play the game, big dog. Still got to play the game. You know what I mean? And then now you look up and it's like, oh shit, bro, it's 14-3. You know what I mean? Y'all was smacking them. Y'all smacked them in the mouth. And the score might not necessarily say it, but yeah, you know what I mean? Y'all
No,
scored touchdowns.
we dominated this game, and when it comes down to it, I mean, Dayball, he's just a great play caller. He's going to get the most out of DJ. And like I said, I was glad to see this offense without Malik Neighbors, and now we can have more of a balanced offense. And this was a very important game to us. The Seahawks are still leading that division. They're still,
Yeah,
they're 3-2. They're number one in the division right now.
but they lost
So
2 games in a row.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So, hey, it's just funny how everybody tries to downplay and make narratives, but hey, every win matters. Like right now, I bet you wish you had that kicker, and y'all would have won that Redskin game.
man. And for the fans, go watch the NBA or one of those other sports where teams tank. We're not tanking for shit. So yeah, I was upset that we didn't have our kicker. I want to win every game. These DJ narrative, like if you're a fan of the team, you want to see the team win. There's only 17 games, and that was an important win for us. Let's see how we do against the Bengals Sunday night, where they're desperate, their backs against the wall as well. So, and we're playing with house money.
Right. So it looked like Tucker Craft took all the Dontavian Wick shares that everybody went crazy and spent all their fab for, and
Hey, in our
everything.
league, I scooped them up. I surprised nobody put in an offer for them. No, that was in my other league. I hedged it. I got Wicks in one league and Kraft in my $200 league. But yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
Dontavius bricks for hands had ass.
well, yeah, it is what it is. But one thing's for certain, Jaden Reed is one hell of a playmaker. Probably one of my favorite players in the NFL right now.
Oh,
Tucker
in the
Craft
NFL.
is, yeah. He, bro, I like what they do to him for whatever reason. He's always making a play for his team. Um,
What's your take on Romeo Dobbs? Obviously, they sat him out for disciplinary things. He missed 2 practices. Bro, what do you think this is? It's not high school football, bro. This isn't your my career in Madden, my guy. Like what like you're not better than Jaden Reed. Like
I mean, it was something about he thought he was a part of trade rumors or something like that, and obviously, yeah, that would probably make you a little
who
upset.
cares?
You don't act. I mean, he did. Apparently, he did, and like, I mean, his coach came out,
It's too damn bad.
looked after him, and said, this was a one off. This isn't what he does. This is how he acts, and we're moving on from it. He was suspended for 1 game. He's back with the team. He's back part of the offensive rotation. So if they good with it, I'm good with it. You know what I mean? I'm not a story guy. I'm not into the, you know what I'm saying? You know that already. So head coach says it's fine. He's back on the team. Then I guess it's fine, and he's back on the team until he's not. Until he's not.
And this game was my lock. I really like the Packers in this spot. It was looking kind of scary, but this is what the good head coaches do. Sean McVay, they do a lot with a little. They're clearly depleted, but Whittington came in and kind of had that Cooper Cup type role, and Tutu Atwell grayed out the slot. But yeah, they're depleted all over. This was my favorite pick for a reason. I just believe that Jordan Love, first game back against the Vikings was going to be tough. But the Packers, they're just a well-oiled machine when it comes to their front office and how they handle business. So I agree with you. If the head coach says we're good to go, he'll be fine, he's going to be soon up next week, then I'm not putting too much stock in that situation. I just find it funny when it seems like these players don't have the self-awareness to know where they are, what league they're playing in. And then with a team like
I
the
mean,
Packers, you just saw what they did
yeah.
with Aaron Rodgers. They're like, look, bro,
I mean, it's a
appreciate you, but
bizarre situation for sure. Especially like, bro, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, there's a lot of jokes we can make about the whole situation, and then, like, even when Pat McAfee was like, "Yo, there's like 3,000 people in Green Bay. Like, what you about to like?" People are going to know that you're not at practice. Like, were you going to walk to the Walmart? Like, what are you doing in Walmart right now, bro? Just flip flops going, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just there's a lot of jokes you can make with this, but as long as it wasn't some type of mental breakdown or it wasn't any type of disruption to the team, to the locker room. Like, it's okay. It was a one-off. If they said it's a one-off, it's a one-off. Now, next week when they play, I guess that's when we'll actually tell what's really going on. But at the point, I'm pretty sure he led the team in targets. I'm pretty sure. So, and that was the second game that that was the first game that Jordan Love was even back last week. So I'm not sure, where that disconnect came. The only thing I could imagine making him that upset is thinking that he's a part of a trade rumor, But again, it is what it
but
is because
like I
that's
don't even
believable.
really get that. Like I don't get him being in trade rumors because Christian Watson has been dealing with injuries his whole career.
So nobody
And
want to trade for his ass.
who?
So no one would want to trade for Christian Watson if it's like, what's the point of trading for him? He
Yeah,
would
but
never be
like,
available.
but why would you, as the Packers, want to trade Romeo Dobbs when like this whole wide receiver kind of by committee approach is working well?
I
Dobbs
guess
is a great
because,
asset.
yeah, I mean, again, we don't even know if that was true. We don't even know if that was true. But my guess would be they're like, all right, we like these three guys. I mean, people like Bo Milton even. So it's like maybe they're like, yo, maybe we could do away with one of our wide receivers and
I mean,
get
technically
an
they
asset
could with
that,
the way they play.
yeah, right. That's what I'm
Technically,
saying. So I agree with you. I think they got a good thing going, but at the same time, we never know. And these are all rumors and speculations, which is why we are giving the respect to the head coach. He says that's in the past. Spend it for one game. He's back. He's back active. All right. He's back active.
no, for sure. Well, that division is kind of shaping out how we expected it to. It's going
Down
to
to the
be,
wire.
it's going to be tough. I mean, this might be a division where we see three playoff teams come out of there. Vikings going into their bye week 5-0. Lions are 3-1. Bears 3-2. Packers 3-2. So those division games coming up are going to be huge. But good win for the Packers, one they kind of had to have, and just a good spot against a Rams team that's depleted over there. And now they have the Cardinals coming up, who they're trying to take control of that division. And if the Vikings keep playing how they play, the Packers are going to need to be a wild card team. So every game matters,
Yeah,
per
for sure.
usual.
For sure. Yeah. Again, right here, Dallas Cowboys.
Rain
Another
delay.
rain delay. I mean, this was just a definition of a shit show. I gave my analysis to the group chat before the game. I basically told them, I was like, look, either this is going to be either Ford is going to take care of it or it's going to be a total shit show. Somehow it managed to be both. And I was, you know what I mean? Like, somehow it was a little bit of both of those things. It was a complete shit show. However, Ford ended up taking care of it. You should have saw Cowboy Twitter, man, when he threw that interception or when he had the first fumble. Whenever he does something wrong, I mean, Cowboy Twitter. I ain't even talking about other fan bases. Cowboy Twitter loves nothing more but to lay into Dak Prescott. He's not worth the money. He never knows when it's time to take over the game.
Yeah, y'all like some
Da-da-da-da-da.
spoiled. Y'all fan base is like some spoiled
I
rich
mean,
kids.
it's the craziest thing, and these are like the most non-spoiled people in the world, but they get so pissed off when it comes to Dak Prescott making mistakes. And again, this is another game where that was a humongous win for us. That is a huge win. Remember, I was hyped up when we beat y'all. Everybody else was mad because we didn't smash y'all out. Well, I've seen us smash y'all out a bunch of times. And what happens when we play tough teams? We get smashed out. We played y'all. Now people realize, okay, that was a tough game. And we played y'all in New York. Barely
Like you
pulled
said,
out
if
one
you
win.
watch that game, that felt like a war. I mean,
Yeah.
people were beat up on both sides. It felt like a war. I was like, damn, this game is exhausting.
I mean, we lost Micah and D Law off that game. You know what I'm saying?
And
Y'all
I
lost
think Diggs
Naber.
got hurt at some point, didn't he?
He cramped up. Diggs
Oh
cramped
yeah,
up.
yeah, he
Like
cramped up. He cramped up. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Yeah, that game we lost a lot that day. We won the game, but we lost a lot that day. And then for you to bounce back, and you're playing a team where this was all Steelers all week. I mean, even we were looking at the schedule 2-3 weeks back, and this was before the Cowboys even won a game. And you were kind of talking about, well, I got to play the Steelers, and I'm like, bro, we got to be able to beat the Steelers. Like, I get you if it, Detroit, like if that's a loss or whatever, okay. But if you're anything that you think you might be, you got to win this game. And the reason you got to win this game is because your quarterback's supposed to be better. And it was a classic Mike Tomlin game. Y'all know I think that he always is in control if it's a Mike Tomlin game. That's what this was. We got to 37 points. Cowboys barely won. You know what I'm saying? They had to drive down on the last second. This was a Dak Prescott fourth down away from being a Mike Tomlin game. For me coming in here and saying, well, Mike Tomlin got us. We played it their way, and they got 3 turnovers and a block kick. 3 turnovers and a block kick, bro. We overcame that. I think this is the fourth time in Cowboy history or whatever, in the Mike McCarthy era, that we've won a game despite having 3 turnovers, bro. And
Yeah,
I mean,
usually that amount of turnovers is a death sentence. That's an L in the column. So nah.
you know what I mean? And it's almost like, yo, this game, every single point, I know everybody was watching that last drive like, oh yeah, he's about to mess this up. I can't wait for Dak to mess this up. And he dealt the entire time. And we actually had a running game on that last drive. We had a running game. Rico Dowdle came through, and I think we carried, before we got to the 20, I think we ran the ball 6 times. And on that drive, on that last drive, then we ran the ball 6 times on that drive. And then once we got inside the 20, I think we threw it every single time outside the play where we tried to run it at the 1. And I want to say Eric Roberts, but I know his last name is Roberts, came through like a missile. One of the best plays I've seen in a long time. Pops the ball out. Dak again, putting the team on his back, dives on the loose ball, takes it, secures it. So we were able to
No
live to
offense to
fight
Cam
another
Newton.
leg. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? We know it's documented that some quarterbacks aren't diving for that ball. You know what I mean? And regardless, whether it was the instincts, whether it was whatever he had going on, he dove for it, right? Again,
Damn,
whatever.
bro, did the Steelers play?
Yeah, bro. I just talked about what the linebacker did. He just had one of the best plays I ever saw.
Yeah, I'm just messing with you.
You know what I mean? Like I'm giving credit. I'm saying this was a Mike Tomlin game. They had 3 turnovers. That's what they did. Like they were fucking us up. Dak was it? You know what I mean? They had to do that foul stuff with Dak and CD when it was just like, yo, jump ball for. I got it. I got you next time. Jump ball. He's like, bet. Boom. But yeah, this was. I do
That
want
was
to
a
give a shout
tough
out
moment. I fucked with that. That was like some real bro. It just feels like just this real gladiator team definition of team sport.
Yeah, I mean, but this was the definition of a team game right here. Like Jalen Tolbert, you know what I mean? And again, the focus is on 87, and 88. The focus is on them. And if you watch the film, you can see the safeties cheating over on CD and on Jake Ferguson. And Jalen Tolbert, all he had to do was catch the football, and that's what he did. He caught the football, and he gets his nuts fucking twisted up or whatever on third down, and like he tries to fight through it, and he eventually we needed to call a timeout for him to get his body right, but he gets right, and I'm calling it out too, bro. I'm calling. I'm like, run mesh, just run mesh, and I'm begging him to run the mesh because that's all you can really do when it's fourth and goal on the 4 yard line. That's the only play you really have. You know, I mean, what are you gonna do? A quarterback sneak, a quarterback draw? He wasn't getting in. So it's just, I was like, for Dak to stay in the pocket, for Jalen Tolbert to get through all the mud, and for him
And you
to
guys
actually
contained the run.
pitch. Right, right. They're not net relatively the best at the run, but that was a team effort on defense. We got no D-Law, we got no Micah Parsons. It's an easy day if we have those guys. We didn't have them. We had Tyrus Wheat and Carl Lawson, and we lost our rookie 4 snaps into the game. So you know what I mean? It was just one of those games where
It's
I'm
kind
happy
of
they
it's
pulled it
kind of like
out.
the opposite of the Giants Seahawks game where we're without Neighbors and Singletary. You're without some of your best defensive pieces.
This man right here, I'm gonna go. This might be a hot take, but this player right here is the heart. He's the
I
heart
mean, you called it out
of,
from
of
week
our of
one.
our
You
defense.
you called him out saying, "Hey, watch out for this cat right here,
Yeah,
Overshown." So he's been
he.
doing his thing.
I mean, he like with this is no Micah. We got nothing. I've never thought I would have never imagined that we don't have Micah playing football. And I'm still like, okay, as long as Overshown's on the field, might have a chance to get a stop. You know what I mean? Like I'm from years where we had Sean Lee, and if Sean Lee was out the game, it's over with. We're not winning, no chance. And for us to be without two of the more important players on the football team as a whole, not even the defense, and for him to show his ass like how he did, man, like I got a lot of respect for Demario Overshown, and I think he's going to be one of those players, like especially at linebacker. He perfect for when we got to play. Obviously, when we got to play y'all already, but like when we have to take on the Jalen Hurts of the world and these scrambling quarterbacks, Jalen Daniels, that's when he's going to make his name. That's when it's going to be like, oh, who is that? Who is number 13 hitting like a missile? And again, we can rap a little bit about the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I mean, it was a muddy game. Najee Harris,
They
luckily enough,
need.
runs.
What do you think about them getting Devontae Adams? Because they need another weapon besides Pickens, man. That was my takeaway from like their offense. I think Justin Fields played well, but there's only so much you can do when Connor Hayward's one of your like bright spots on offense. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I mean they're anemic on offense. You know what I'm saying?
Per
Like they know
usual.
that. They know that. Teams
But
know
trading
that.
away or getting rid of Deontay Johnson without like kind of a plan at that position. I mean, did they draft a receiver? What was their draft like?
Their plan is George Pickens. Their plan is Pat Farmer. Like the one thing about the Steelers, is they don't really care for wide receivers. Antonio Brown, this is one of the one things Antonio Brown said, like he said this a few months back or whatever, while like CTE Antonio Brown, that
Oh
actually
yeah,
made sense.
Roman Wilson.
Yeah, and they were like, yo, they don't care about wide receivers in Pittsburgh. Like they care about the defense. They don't pay wide receivers. They're like, they don't pay wide receivers in Pittsburgh. I mean, we already know when they needed a quarterback, these dudes traded for a free safety, and it worked out for them. You know what I mean? And it's like they need
Shout out to
wide receivers.
Minka.
They need wide receivers. They trade their best wide receivers for a DB, and he got a pick in the game. Like they are just different. They're a different ran organization, and it starts with their defense, and it starts with their running game. Why are they bringing out Najee Harris and running him like he don't run him? I want to see Ezekiel Elliott and him run a race. I don't know who will win. I have no idea who will win that race. Like, it's crazy. But I mean, I do want to say shout out to the Cowboys defense because they were able to contain Justin Fields. Never in my imagination did I think that he'd only had 27 yards in this game. I thought he would be the one going crazy, 60 something yards and 2 touchdowns. Like I really believed that was how they were going to end up pulling this game out. And for him to score 2 touchdowns through the air, still bad average yards percentage and all of that, but he still, I mean, for them, this is a good game. That's a good game for their quarterback. They're not going to lose no sleep over this. So we played their way. We were able to pull it out, away game. Proud of the Cowboys. You know what I mean? Every win matters. I know when we beat teams, they suck, but that tends to actually not be true because y'all turned around and y'all got a W. So against a team that was above 500 team.
And they're still leading the division, and seven and a half.
7.5, yeah,
home,
7.5
home
dogs is
favorites,
crazy.
and they call them 12th man for a reason, and gets allowed in there. So
Right.
hey,
So you got to put some respect on wins, man. I know when certain teams we don't like win, we have to discredit them, but I think that's wrong to do. It's the wrong thing to do. Got to put respect on wins. They're hard to come by.
these are all NFL teams. This isn't, oh well, prime, this best Georgia team or Alabama team could probably beat on the no. Like the, these are grown men. You know what I mean? And they're playing hard every week. There's no tanking um in that locker room. So in any of these locker rooms. So
Yeah.
last game, Monday Night Football, Derek Carr back down to earth, doing Derek Carr things. I mean, he wasn't like terrible, but story of the game to me, Chiefs and that defense, man. This is just a different Chiefs team than what we saw early in Pat Mahomes' tenure here. They're not throwing it for 400 yards a game, even though he did have a pretty productive game. But yeah, Kareem Hunt getting his second chance, second stint. Obviously, he came in with Pat Mahomes, and then that video leaked, and he ended up having to go to Cleveland. But he's back, and he's taking advantage of the fact that Pacheco is out. Juju stepped up. I mean, that looked like prime Steelers Juju out there, so somebody had to do it. And then Travis Kelce, he's doing the veteran. You could
He's
just
doing all
tell
he
what.
can.
Yeah, yeah, he's
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
all he can, and he's kind of using his smarts and how he's able to trick defenses a little bit on some of his routes and things like that to get open and get extra yardage and get first
Yeah.
downs. So
And this is the offense. So and then that was why I was so. You remember how I was so obsessed with Rasheed Rice throughout the thing because I was like, yo, this is the offense. Offense is that the all those Travis Kelce plays, they now have to go to the younger guys because they're faster. You know what I mean? Juju, I'm no one's saying Juju Smith got speed or anything like that, but he moves quicker than Travis Kelce
he
does.
looked fast last night. No
Right,
diddy.
right. But I mean, he's not a 4.3 guy or nothing like that. You know what I mean? But he's still quicker and faster than Travis Kelce. And in the way that they've created the offense, you need somebody to just insert into Rasheed Rice's role. And
Yeah,
Juju.
and that Rice's role is so important because they get Xavier Worthy with their first pick, but he's more of like a gadget speedster. He's not somebody. He's not really like a possession receiver where you could rely on him
Right. And
to
you don't want
be
him
the
in there.
center of your offense.
Yeah, you don't want him in the traffic like that, taking all those hits. So, this was classic Mahomes spot, classic Chiefs. Let the defense do some work. He's gonna always do enough to win the game, no matter how sloppy it is. The Saints have now came back to earth. It seems. It seems like they were world beaters there for the first 2
Hey,
weeks of the
well,
season.
according to you, they already won their Super Bowl a couple weeks ago, so this is what it is, huh? You
Yeah,
feeling
and you
good
know
about
what's
that take?
the funniest part about that is I saw a tweet last night. It was a Dallas beat reporter, and the guy was like, he's talking about the Saints already won their Super Bowl when they played Dallas. A Saints guy responded, like fan or whatever, and it's like talking about the Dallas win. He's talking about the Dallas win. He's like, yeah, well, it was 75% Saints fans in there. The Saints own Dallas, da 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 da. And it's just like, you totally missed the point. You missed what we're trying to say here. Like, y'all are so obsessed with what y'all do to us, which is one, not even true. But Y'all lost today, and you don't care that you lost today. You know what I mean? It's like it is like that's what some people's obsession is, and it's just like, bro, why y'all? Why they literally? I told you, bro. They had a parade. They threw a parade. Like, bro, it's week
Hey,
two.
like I said, man, New Orleans is right over there. You know what I mean? So it's easy for them to go. Gather the
Yeah,
troops and
well,
and and flood out Fort Worth.
they still haven't recovered for that goddamn parade. I guess they had too much fun that day. Too much gumbo that day because
Yeah,
they've been
three
getting their ass
three
whooped
game
since.
3 game losing streak. They should have had that against the Eagles. Lost by 2 against the Falcons. And I don't want to say they're like unraveling, but like
I mean, bro, Derek Carr came back to earth. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm speechless, yo. I'm speechless. Like, who's the number one wide receiver? Is Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave over here with 10,
Chris
10 yards?
Olave was a non-factor in this
Like,
game. It
what are
was
we
wild.
doing?
It was wild. Hey, like I said, man. I mean, Taysom Hill might be more important than we all think. He might be an X factor. Once he, once we get him back in there, they could kind of do some more trickery. But they
Well,
got the
now they
Bucks
lost a
coming up.
quarterback. They lost a quarterback for this week. He's
What
not
what
playing.
what? How did he get injured again? I know he got hurt
Uh,
towards the end of the game. Was kind of out of reach.
I'm I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if it was something with his shoulder, if he had a concussion. But I know that I thought Spencer Rattler was going to get in the game, and then is this kid. So, but yeah,
Oh, I
apparently
forgot
Spencer.
Rattler was on the team. Yeah, I mean he looked decent. He kind of
Well,
he's
they're
he's
saying he's going
pretty
to
he's pretty
start.
quick, huh?
Yeah, they're saying that in replacement of Derek Carr because due to the injury that they're going to probably end up starting Spencer.
It's an
Yeah.
oblique injury, and he's expected to miss a couple weeks. So yeah,
Yeah.
I guess Rattler he couldn't beat this kid out. That's
Well,
tough.
I don't think I don't think that's true. I think uh to protect their starting quarterback psyche, I think that they made the Drake Hanner dude or whatever this kid is. I think they made him the backup quarterback so that Derek Carr doesn't have to deal with everybody talking about some after every bad throw, after every interception. Oh, put Spencer in, put Spencer in, put Spencer in. You know what I mean? He probably still
That,
hears that
that that's
regardless,
a that, that
but
that's a good point. That's a good
but
point.
you know what I mean? It's just like because quarterbacks have that psyche. I mean, we talked about it with Kirk Cousins, which he's playing well right now, but part of his thing is he wants the security of knowing that he's the guy.
And
And
imagine how
with
loud it would have been if they lost that real close game. I think against the Eagles.
Eagles,
You,
they be
you know what
yeah.
I mean?
So,
Like,
well, I mean, they did lose it. They did. Oh, but you're saying like imagine how loud it would have been after the loss because they lost against the Eagles.
nah, they came back crazy against the Eagles. They had that
Nah, bro.
crazy
Think
comeback.
about it. They beat Carolina and
Nah,
they beat the
they beat the
Cowboys.
Eagles by a point. The Falcons.
Didn't Oh, you're talking about the Falcons.
Yeah, I'm talking
Oh,
about
they're
the
talking about the Saints.
Falcons.
Okay, okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. I'm talking
Yeah.
about how Kirk Cousins, if they
How
would
it
have
would have
lost
been
that
loud if they
game,
would have lost that
yeah,
game.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
for sure. Because that would have put them at what 0-2.
Yep.
Yeah. So no, yeah, right. You're right. You're totally right. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think that was the situation with Spencer Rattler not being the backup. But in reality, it's like, all right, well, since Derek Carr is hurt, we're going to play Spencer Rattler now. And what comes of this will be interesting. But there's an unspoken rule in the NFL that you're not really supposed to lose your starting job due to injury, unless you're a quarterback on a cheap deal.
Russell Wilson.
I mean, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy. You know what I
Bro,
mean? So I'm saying
any way to get Dak in there. How's
well,
that
well,
an
well,
example?
because he took Tony Romo. Tony Romo got injured, and Dak Prescott was
Man,
inserted
why are we
into.
going that way back, man? Back then,
Well, I mean, you brought up Russell Wilson. That was 2012.
no, I'm talking about Russell Wilson with this year with Justin
Oh
Fields.
well,
He got hurt,
yeah,
and
but
and he's on a
and
cheap deal.
that's yeah. So you know what I mean? I'm just saying throughout the years, throughout the league, it's this unspoken word that you don't lose your starting gig due to injury But if it's a quarterback on a cheap deal, I
I
don't know.
think
Somehow they end up playing. So
here might be a part of it too. They might want to. This kind of extends your theory a little bit. You know, the possibility of adding Devontae Adams to play with Derek Carr. It's kind of like, hey, nah, Derek Carr's still the guy. So come over here,
but again, I already told you where he's going, bro. I already told
bro.
you where he's
That
going.
shit is not a lock. Especially
It's
he might
definitely
go
a
to
lot.
Buffalo.
It's definitely
Hmm?
a lot. It's,
Oh, so
I'm
now you
telling you,
believe
it's a
in
lot.
locks.
It's lock
You
and
believe in
that
locks
is a
now?
lock and load. That is a lock and load with Aaron Rodgers at the helm and Woody Johnson or whatever, bro. Daniel Hackett has a job today. So yeah, 100%. He is going. They can't speak on it
You
because
wouldn't
it's
want him
temporary.
coaching the Cowboys if y'all lose Mike McCarthy. You wouldn't be a little Hackett.
I don't think he'll have a gig, bro. I don't think he'll even be a quarterback coach. Like I think his name is like he's enjoying the ride while Aaron Rodgers is still
He,
in the game, but he knows like when Aaron taps out, it's probably gonna be over from him. And that might not even
he
be
could go iron Aaron Rodgers' clothes. He could go be his
right.
assistant.
And that might just be the perception of it, but at this point, it's so you know what I mean?
It's
Like
so
after today, at
ingratiated
least,
in our perception of him, where it's like,
nobody's going to respect him after Aaron leaves. Nobody's going to respect him anymore. So, you know what I mean? Again, collect your checks though, bro. I get it. You got a family and they coming in. So do what the rest of us do. Collect that fucking check. Uh I mean, yeah, as for also the Saints too, they got $4 million in salary cap right now. So they would have to be doing a lot of stuff, a lot of work with the books. And if like we're going to know if they actually are going to make a run at Devontae Adams by the way the announcements come out that they've reconstructed contracts. If you hear that people on the Saints are reconstructing contracts, then or like someone random gets released or something like that, then because that means they're making space for a player. But until
yeah,
that point,
that's a good point. I mean, these guys are always in cap hell, which is why when I was on my preseason tier list, I had them in no man's land because they look like the Saints that I was expecting this season. Like, yeah, any given Sunday they could beat you, but that's pretty much any team. Is that where you want to be? Just all this money invested into older players. Cam
well, that's where
Jordan's
they
not the
wanted to
same.
be. That's where they wanted to be. 2 weeks ago, they thought they you know what I'm saying had a chance for the title, for the division title. So you know what I mean? Like but it's just this is the
That's
both
looking slow
sides.
now. I
This is
think
the
this shit's
both
between Falcons and the Bucks. I mean, this
right.
next game is going to tell us a
Yeah,
lot.
but
They have the
this is
Bucks coming up, and if they're on a 4-game losing streak after beating the Panthers and then beating you guys early in the season, I mean, what a pendulum swing for how we're looking at them. You know.
and don't be surprised if we get a Spencer Rattler's in, and Chris Olave goes off. Because I mean he's the most talented player. I mean Rashid Shaheed is good. He's the beat speed
Or do
guy,
you mean
and
Hayner or whoever?
I don't think he's going. I think it's going to be Spencer Rattler that starts. I think it is, and I think that
What
Chris
this
Olave,
next week?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Like
okay.
with Derek Carr being out, I'm saying like I think
Okay, so
depending on how it goes.
your theory was based on the end of that game type of
Yeah,
deal. Oh,
yeah,
okay. All right.
yeah. So it's like Derek Carr is going to be out. I think Spencer Rattler is about to get a chance to spin this jump, and yeah, we gonna see, man. We gonna see. That's gonna be interesting because I mean, if he can do better than 165 yards and better than uh you know 2 receptions for Chris Olave, I think there might be some people talking in that organization
Hey man,
or in that fan base.
Spags is just doing his thing on defense, so we'll see how they do against Todd Bowles' defense next week. Important division matchup. I think they're home. I don't know. Yeah, they're home. Home. 1 o'clock game. So this next week super important. Obviously, the bye weeks have began, and we have what like 2 4 teams in the bye.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. I mean, this is the recap. Next episode we're gonna have like love lock for you guys. Our favorite bets of the week, and then later we'll have our games of the week. But besides that, that's the wrap up. You got anything else?
Nah,
Any
that's
other
it.
sentiments?
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. We out with the
All right.
facts and all that.
Peace.